Ladies and gentle freaks, gentle zombies, I should say. What's going on? I just got done watching, Marvel Zombies. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't this just What If Season 4? Yes. Next question. How long has it been since the What If Zombies episode came out? Because if you guys don't know, Marvel's What If is an animated series made almost like right when Disney Plus came out. I forget exactly when it came out, but essentially it was a bunch of like, it's normal MCU, but what if Iron Man was murdered, stuff like that. And one of them adapted the very famous Marvel storyline of Marvel Zombies. So I don't remember a whole bunch about the episode. I just remember Paul Rudd was Ant-Man, and he was like, it was just his head. And then Spider-Man looked really weird because obviously they could not, for some reason, get Tom Holland to be a part of it. But Spider-Man is in it. And then at the end of the episode, they said to be continued. So I have been waiting. It's got to be like, it has to have been like 2 years, 2 or 3 years since that to be continued. Because I remember being kind of irritated that they just were kind of holding off on that. But we finally have it. We have the 4 episodes of Marvel's Zombie Marvels, whatever. So is it good? First off, I'm a little confused. So I watched all 4 episodes in one sitting, and I feel like there might be more, maybe. Like it ends on a note where it could be more. But if they left it here, that'd be fine. It'd be all right. But let's just get into it. Before I get into spoilers, because I am going to go into an episodic breakdown, let me give you my basic spoiler-free thoughts. This was very good. It was very good. I really liked it. It has, when it's on its high notes, they're damn high, baby. But there are some specific MCU flaws here that I think the writing takes the biggest low here. So for example, let's talk about the highs. Blade Moon Knight in itself is god tier. I need the action figure. I need more episodes of this. But yeah, like that alone, fantastic. And that leads into the action, the blood, the gore, amazing. It's so good. Every moment that Blade is on screen slicing and dicing people, none of it's censored either. I guess there are a couple moments where it's like, it could have been a little. No. It's done beautifully. Like they show all the intestines leaking out and shit. Oh, dude, it's done so well. Like every time, out of the main characters, when we actually get like Kamala and Spider-Man. Spider-Man's not in this that much, but when Kamala's like doing her thing, a lot of the main characters utilize their powers in such a brutal way for these 4 episodes. I like them more. I like them more now. Like Kamala, it's not just like steps like, in the Marvels movie. Like there's one part, okay, well, no spoilers. I'll just say blank zombie. She puts her fist inside of its mouth and then expands her fist into a spiked ball, blowing up their face. And I'm just like, holy, that is insane. Spider-Man has another amazing moment we see in the trailer where he's like putting webs on all these different zombies' heads. Then he just yanks them forward. All the zombie heads come ripping off. Dude, guys, if you need to just see some good zombie action, this is it. This is really good. Action alone, I'd probably give a 9 or a 10 to. If that's the only thing I was rating it on. However, the writing is where I got the biggest problem. There are... Do you smell that? It's cheese. And damn it, it's all over this thing. Guys, the script here is incredibly cheesy. And it's not a terrible thing, but there are just like, okay, again, no spoilers, but the first episode, we have Riri Williams, which I didn't like. You guys can watch my review on that. I don't like her character. I think she's portrayed as just an arrogant prick but like it's supposed to be in a lovable way, but like it's not. Kate Bishop is okay. And then we have Kamala Khan or Miss Marvel. And just the lines that they have back and forth between each other is just so cringy. Like, I don't know. Like, let me see if I can find one. Okay, perfect example. There's one moment where the three of our starting characters are driving in a car, and then there's like this massive explosion in a wall. And then, you know, Kamala's like, whoa, who did this? And then Riri's like, if I see a zombie, I'll make sure to pull over and ask. And then Kamala goes, huh, good one. And I'm just like, oh, no, okay. It's just like, it's stuff that isn't even like, it's not even like jokes. It's just the MCU type of writing where you can tell it's the same person that keep rehiring, where it's just the repeated same sense of like, it's just really bad banter, I think, is my biggest problem with it. And it doesn't expand through the whole series, but I'd say like 90% of the characters got jokes, and there just don't need to be jokes in this. Like, by far the worst character in this whole thing is the FBI Asian guy. I forget his name. He hangs out with the Shang-Chi crew. He's also in like WandaVision. He hangs around for like 3 out of the 4 episodes, and it's just him. Like, there's this whole moment where Death Dealer, the one of the assassins in Shang-Chi, him and the FBI agent are talking about a bet. He's like, do you want the top bunk? Because I kind of want the top bunk. You know, I guess if you want the top bunk, maybe, I don't know. I kind of want the top bunk. It's like, dude, this isn't funny. Holy, stop talking. It's like, I don't know. Like I feel like this entire little mini series, the 4 episodes, is so close to being like a 9 or a 10 because of how god tier the action is. And who, not to mention the animation, like the beginning of What If season 1, I remember just like not being into it. And I kind of felt the same during episode 1 of this, where I was like, I still don't know about that 3D CGI, like cell shaded animation. It just doesn't hit for me. But it gets to a point in episode 4 where the budget just goes ham, and they're mixing 2D and 3D, and it looks amazing. So I'm not even going to crap on the animation. I think that it was done very well. Do some of the models still look a little weird? I think so, but you get used to it pretty quickly. But yeah, I think honestly, if I could sit in the editing room, give me a day, I could edit this thing. Just take out all the cringy bits that just didn't need to be there, and then we got a 9 or a 10. Like, it's that good. But it's moments like that where we're like, hey, do you want the top bunk? Where I'm just like, I just can't, man. I just can't. And I guess last thing to mention before the final score is not just in terms of action, but emotions. I wasn't like choking up or anything, but they are not afraid to kill your favorite characters. There's one moment, oh my word, there's one moment where there's a certain character that dies. It's like immediate. The character shows up, then they're just eviscerated, and it's like, damn, okay. There's so many moments like that. And I didn't really have any moments that I was able to predict. Like, there would be a god tier character on screen for a split second, and you know, sometimes it cheap out a little bit, but overall I love the emotions, I love the animation. The writing just isn't there for me. So I'm gonna give this a very solid 6 out of 10. Now I know what you're thinking. You're praising it quite a bit. Why is 6? A 6, okay, so 5 is like flat average, like I'm gonna forget about it, whatever, who cares. A 6 is right above that. I am gonna remember this. I think that it is god tier in the action department, but because we focus so much on a lot of the writing, just the separate episodes themselves, they just don't do enough for me to be as invested in these characters as I am in the movies. The only reason we care about a lot of these characters is because of seeing them in past projects. If it weren't for that, this film just would not, this series, sorry, just would not have any sort of character, because it's just a lot of action without substance is the perfect way to put it, which is the exact way I put like all Godzilla movies, at least the recent ones, not -1. That one's a perfect 10 out of 10. but like, you know, King of the Monsters, Godzilla versus Kong, where it's like the action is so good. I could sit down and just watch that all day. And I could do the same for this because it's so good, but the story just isn't there. And it sucks because it's like, I really wanted it to be, but with the first episode being kind of boring, and then, you know, it doesn't really pick up until I'd say about halfway through the second episode. The third episode, hype as hell. The fourth episode, amazing. But it's just for that, I have to give it that average 50/50. So yeah, guys, a 6 out of 10. We're going to jump into the story a little bit, so that then I can kind of like jump into it just a tad bit more. So stick with me for that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and check me on the next Grant Guy Reviews. Okay, story-wise, I'm going to yellow notes this shit, all right? Because we got 4 episodes. I'm not going to stay here forever talking about it. Obviously, if you're here, you've already seen it, so you don't need me to really explain it to you. So anyway, guys, all right, so we start off with Riri Williams, you know, Ironheart, Kate Bishop, as well as Kamala Khan. They're driving around. Hawkeye comes after them. They take him out. They find out there's this Quinjet that crashed down from S.H.I.E.L.D., and inside the guy, there's this like little tiny device, and supposedly the device is something important. So they go out and they're like, oh, there's a S.H.I.E.L.D. base in Ohio. We'll go there. We'll figure out what this thing is. Maybe it'll do something. They go on their way. They run into one of the first super cool parts is we have this, I forget what it's called, the Land of the Dead Gods, something like that. And it is Captain Marvel versus the main Superman guy from Eternals, which I did not expect an Eternals reference in 2025. That's kind of insane, but I'm here for it. I do forget his name though. I'm sorry. To all 2 Eternals fans. And right here, things do pick up really quick. Kate Bishop shoots like a trick arrow. Captain Marvel goes through her, does nothing. And then Captain Marvel just eviscerates Kate. She's dead. It shows her skeleton. It shows her skeleton turning into ash. It's insane. We see Ironheart get crowded by zombies. The only reason that Kamala Khan is able to get out of there is Ironheart sends her suit to pick up Kamala Khan, dump her off, and then we meet Blade Moon Knight, one of the coolest character, not one of the coolest character. And he's like, I'm gonna help you out with this shit. Pretty cool. They go to the Ohio base where we run into essentially the Thunderbolts, minus all of them except for, you know, Yelena, Red Guardian, and his wife Melina. I forget her name. And so we discover what the device does, and it is basically this thing to send out SOS signal to the Nova Corps, so the Nova Corps can come and I guess help out. And that's it. That's where the episode ends. Well, I guess Red Guardian's wife, she stays back and tries to hold them off, but it doesn't really do anything, and then she dies. You know, a little pointless, but you know, it's whatever. Okay, in the next episode, we start back 5 years ago at the beginning. We see Shang-Chi and just straight up Awkwafina. I don't remember what her name is. It's just Awkwafina. They are running away. It is a really cool action scene. We see these massive zombies. We see that the Pym lab has blown up, and then all the big zombies are coming from that. And then, yeah, basically Shang-Chi's father comes in. He sacrifices himself so Shang-Chi can get out of there. Shoots due 5 years later, and they're basically just parroting Mad Max. They're driving around the desert, running over a bunch of scrolls for some reason. That never really comes up again. The scrolls are kind of just there. They're like a motorcycle gang. And then they just kind of run them over. That's it. That is all. That is all there is of that. Then the Shang-Chi crew meets up with the crew of the last one, which is, you know, Red Guardian and Kamala, all of them bros. They jump on Baron Zemo's little water ship, as the water ship is supposed to head over to New Asgard. On the way down, Baron Zemo, turns out it's like, oh, it's all a trap because he hates heroes. He sends the group, Kamala's group, into the ocean to fight Namor. But then just out of the blue, plan backfires. They get sent back into the ship. So then Namor and all of his, you know, evil water minions, evil zombie water minions, they start fighting them. The ship blows up. Yelena sacrifices herself in a super cool moment where she's taking one final drink and, you know, God tier part. Red Guardian is crushed. This is where I was feeling that emotion. And then we end up at New Asgard. This is a very straightforward episode. They end up at New Asgard. Thor is completely distraught from the events of essentially zombie Thanos was there during Infinity War instead of normal Thanos. And he kills Rocket Raccoon immediately. It was incredibly sad. I was a little bro, I was like, cheap, bro, cheap. You didn't even give him a line. Rocket Raccoon immediately defeated. Thor is badly injured. Black Panther risks his life and essentially puts Thanos in the middle of this like vibranium reactor, which kills him. But then all the Infinity Stone energy is just like circulating around. Bruce Banner jumps in. So then we have the reveal of Infinity Hulk, which is the coolest thing ever. But then essentially going back to the main plot, we go to New Asgard. We see Thor. He's super bummed out about the whole thing, but they're having a party. It turns out Wanda has shown up and she's using her like mind trick stuff to get all these Asgardians to they're like, oh, what a delicious feast. But then they look down and it's like, oh, we were actually eating zombie parts the whole time. And then they all turn into zombies. And then Thor and Wanda do a little fight. We don't see too much of it. I will say the only complaint that I have about the action is Thor definitely, if you're not a main character, you got like 2 moves, you know, like Thor, he's got 2 moves. He either throws the hammer or he just does like lightning blast. And it's like, yeah, he does that, but like, yeah, he does other stuff, you know, you could toss it a little more. So then Wanda turns him into a zombie and it's like, yeah, come on. But then we finally reach space with the help of Valkyrie and her little spaceship. Turns out Nova Corps already knew that the zombie apocalypse was happening and they quarantined the Earth just to make sure the zombie plague would not get anywhere outside of Earth, which, you know what? Fair plan. I'm kind of on the Nova Corps side, not gonna lie. So eventually they head back down. They are saved from turning into a fireball by, yes, Spider-Man and Paul Rudd and all those guys. And the big final plan is that we gotta take Wanda down. So it's going to be Infinity Hulk and all of our heroes versus Wanda and all her zombies. Okay, I've been explaining this for way too long. I'm sorry, I got way too into it. But yeah, so to finish it up, we get into the main final battle. And essentially the goal is for Wanda to touch Hulk, Infinity Hulk, and then she gets all the powers. And the whole thing throughout the couple episodes is Kamala had these dreams where she sees Wanda and then she sees Infinity Hulk. And then Wanda's like, I need you to help me out. Then yeah, literally everyone dies. Every single person dies or they are about to die. So Kamala's final little bit of effort is she holds Wanda's hand, therefore giving in to Wanda, which I will say did not expect that outcome. So yeah, then Kamala Khan gives in to Wanda. She holds her hand, and then everything blows up. And then yeah, essentially from that she wakes up and she's like, oh my gosh, everything's back to normal. And I loved this ending, because Wanda kind of hints at it earlier when she's trying to explain what her plan is. She's like, you know, some people don't want me to do what I'm gonna do, but that's why I need this infinity power. And turns out what she was going to do was do what she did in WandaVision, but with the entire world. So that way Kamala Khan wakes up and she's like, oh, I'm having boba with my friends. But then she has these like little glimpses, and all of a sudden reality flashes and it's the zombie apocalypse. Riri Williams is alive. And this is the only part where I'm like, there could be more episodes, because it is odd, because they didn't have to make her alive for that end bit. They could have just had her die. You know what I mean? So like they could do more. They could. But I'm also fine with the ending the way that it did, because it basically ends with Kamala staring at Riri like awestruck at the fact that everything is 10 times worse now. Everyone is dead except for her and Riri and other characters that we might have just not seen, you know? I guess the last thing to point out, I don't know if it's in the Miss Marvel show or if it was in the Marvels and I just forgot. Wanda is constantly like, I need Kamala to do the thing that I want to do. And the thing that she wants to do, you know, which is covering the world in her magic, she only does it when Kamala holds her hand, but she never really explains why she needs Kamala. It probably has something to do with the magic bands, and I'm sure maybe that was explained at some point. But if that's not the case, I have no idea why that would be necessary. But either way, guys, a great show, a 6 out of 10. I know it seems low, but I am right on the cups of a 7. I don't know. It's tough because, again, I'm torn between the amazing action, the god tier scenes, and just the really just not their story. There are really good moments, like I said, but there are too many times where I'm kind of just waiting for the next action piece. So anyway, guys, that is about it. Thank you so much for watching. If you got to the end, make sure to subscribe for more every single week on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I shall be seeing you guys on to the next episode of Great Guide Reviews. See ya.